So just to step back, as Jan mentioned, we've had a number of reports on this, and I go back to a 2009 report which we prepared, and the most fundamental point that I think that report said, and it was a very important statement at the time, is that the board believes that computer-based instruction can and should become an integral part of our education in Oregon in the coming years. In particular, we're looking at virtual full-time learning, said that for many students, or for a large number of students in Oregon, that this could be an important option to have available. And so we concluded that this was something that was here, that we needed to develop and create a new governance model for. This form of instruction, by its very nature, is a challenging one in the existing governance structure, as you all well know, because the schools themselves provide services outside the district where the student lives. And basically, a student in one part of the state is taking instruction with teachers and faculty in another part of the state, and that has created a challenge for how to govern and deal with this issue. And so we've struggled with this. You've struggled with this. We've had a lot of conversations about this. And what I will tell you is our board came to a unanimous decision at the end of August, so ready for your deadline. And we don't all share identical views on this. We struggled with it. And I think we've come up with a proposal that is very workable, that balances a lot of interests here, and that's coherent. I think will serve the needs of students and as we move forward. We did have some broad principles that we were working with as we did our work around quality. We believe that any virtual program must be of high quality. We thought it was important that there be accountability among the providers. There should be a choice among providers available to students and their parents. There needs to be accountability, oversight. This cannot be. This can't just be a pure free market without some significant state oversight for the state dollars involved. We saw the opportunity to increase efficiencies and lower costs of education and provide individual learning and equitable access to the populations. So broadly, what are we recommending that we do on governance, enrollment, and funding? Those are the three big categories we were struggling with. On governance, we believe that nonprofits and charter schools that are chartered by or adopted by a district or an ESD should have the opportunity to provide these services, but they should have approval by the State Board of Education if they want to provide those services to students outside the home district. In other words, because this is of statewide significance and we need to have statewide accountability for the state dollars involved, that was very important that those schools be approved by the State Board of Education. And in terms of the students who could enroll in those schools, we felt up to 3% of students in any district should have the opportunity to choose those schools, assuming they do connect with the district and sign off in the sense of having a conversation with the home district and for discussion of the students' needs, understanding that those students often do come back to the district school and we need to have a conversation with the home district involved. We recommended that the state have the authority to raise that limit from 3 to 5%, but giving adequate notice. We felt that gives adequate protection to the school districts involved in terms of the students attending those schools. In terms of funding, we recommend we start at a 90% of ADMW, that the student would be, for each student enrolled, 90% would go to the online school, with the remaining 10% dollars ADMW split equally between the home district and the sending district, and again as a starting point on the funding model. And we also encouraged all districts to provide these options to their students beyond these requirements. We think it's a valid form of education available, and we encourage districts to negotiate with providers and develop their own programs to provide full-time services. So that, in a nutshell, is what we're recommending. I would stress, I think we talked earlier, that we understand online learning is more than full-time by far. In the long run, I think the individual classes and the kind of mixed virtual learning is going to be extremely important. This report doesn't deal with that. That's another topic. You might want to challenge us to go to work on that at some point, but there are other ideas out there you've probably been hearing, and again, we think there are a lot of other very promising opportunities on virtual learning, but this one particularly is focusing on the issue of full-time learning, and we think we've got a framework that can serve Oregon well, and again, we would love to work with you as we flesh this out. I would stress, we had a deadline. We did the best we could within the deadline. We don't necessarily have every dot and T, and again, we'd be happy to continue to work on this if you would like us to do